back and we're better than ever. That's right. We're coming back with the Pulse of the People Season 2. Enough about that. I want to introduce you to what's new on New Kingdom TV, and that is the Pulse. We're going to be a little innovative. We're going to be a little bit confrontational. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk about what is relevant and what's going on in the world today. But it ain't just going to be me. I brought some crazy people, good friends of mine and family along to go along this ride with you every week. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be off the hook. I got my girl, Samia. You going to love her this season. Make sure you watch.
It's your girl, Samia. You know the boss lady, future business mogul. I'm out here just making sure my community is completely holistic. Finances, business, family, whatever it might be, that's me.
I got my soul sister. That's right, soul sister, standing tall. I got Amani. She's off the hook, too.
Hey, it's your girl Armani. I am the pro-black activist. I'm here to talk about controversial issues, bring social justice. I'm here to put my foot on the necks of white supremacy and institutional racism and bring power to the people.
Listen here, every week you're gonna love this part of it because I got my son along for the ride. His hair, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be off the hook. Javondre's in the house.
What's up, everybody? My name's Javondre. I'm your pop culture guru. I'm here to bring the energy. I'm here to bring the creativity, and I'm switching up my opinions like my hair color.
Rounding it out, I got the piano man. He can't just play it, but he can speak it. I got Rashawn.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? My name is Rashawn Corbin, but everybody calls me Corbin. I'm one of the co-hosts this season on The Pulse, where we're going to be talking about real issues, real people, real topics, because it's really necessary. Listen, I'm an in-your-face type of guy. I'm brutally honest, but at the end of the day, I do it because I care an extreme amount about my people. So if you care about what's going on in this country, join us every week for this special season of The Pulse. Tune in.
That's the cast in a nutshell. Make sure you watch us every time we come on. It's going to be off the hook, baby. It's the phone. TikTok. Let's roll. Hey, it's your boy, the Bishop. Listen, you thought that we were gone. Nuh-uh. We're back. And here it is. The Pulse of the People had a baby, and the baby is the Pulse. And so what better way to talk, to engage, to inspire, to encourage, to then educate, but to bring together what I believe some of the greatest minds, different eras, different viewpoints, and we are the Pulse. And so I want to take a moment to introduce these cast of individuals that will be the Pulse. And I just want them to say hello to you, and then we're going to get into it because that's what we're here to do. And so I want to introduce, I'm going to go ladies first, the ladies of the Pulse. My girl, Samia. Miss Armani.
Hi, everybody. My name is Armani Jackson, and I am the activist of the group.
My main man, Rashawn.
What's going on, y'all? They call me Piano Man. What's up?
And then it's a double honor for me to introduce this young man. He's my son, Dre.
Hey, everybody. I'm Dre.
So I know that people are trying to wonder, what is the Pulse? What's going to be the view of the Pulse? And we sat down and we thought about it, and I put some things together, put something in to kind of give everybody an overview what the Pulse is. I want you to hear this. This is what came to me last night. Here at the Pulse, we are an engaging, encouraging, educational, entertaining show using this platform to empower you in every area of our culture. It is to captivate or cultivate the mind to begin to think that all things are possible. We are unapologetic, nor make no excuses for anything we will say as a cast to you, our viewers. Our hope is, as you watch this, you watch it with an open mind and understand that our views are from a place of conscious awareness, and thought. Our prayer as you watch this is that you don't become judgmental, as we won't become judgmental, but you hear our hearts and that you use your heart and not your eyes. That we, the Pulse, and the community that we come from as a group, individually and collectively, and the thoughts of our TV network and the vision of our leader and our visionary come out crystal clear in everything we say and we do. I think it's time for us to call it all clear, and it's time to gauge the pulse. In our first session, just right off the top of my head, I like to call it checking vitals. And anytime we want to check the pulse, we always want to make sure we check the vitals. Let's check the vitals. Let's talk about some things. Let's get into it. As we know, COVID-19 is going on, and it's a worldwide pandemic, so it's not just a local thing, but it's all over our country, and we're seeing different things happening as far as the numbers. We've seen the numbers go up in the early part of the pandemic. They leveled off, but they won't tell us they leveled off. And now we're seeing spikes again now that we are in, quote unquote, as they say, flu season. Me, I'm going to start with you tonight. How do we look at with these CDC guidelines and what they want us to believe, and what's fact and what's fiction?
Well, it's interesting that you start with me, a COVID survivor. So I think that the need to keep people fearful at times is used loosely. So at times when they want us to be afraid of COVID, then they kind of, oh, well, we got to do this, we got to do that. And then when they want us to not be so fearful, oh, well, we have enough precautions, so it doesn't matter. We're good. As far as like going back to school, as you know, some people are going into school and some people are coming to conclusions that they want some kids to go to school. And then right now here in Anne Arundel County, they're requiring parents to register their child for 3 different situations, which as a parent, it kind of threw me, because I'm like, you told me I had till January to concern myself about my daughter going into school, and then out of nowhere, you come up with a new idea, and then you force me to make a decision immediately, when as though I thought we already talked about this. That's really how I feel about it. Like, I thought we had a conversation about this, and I don't see a reason for my kids to go back to school at the moment. You know, I feel like this is we're still trying to figure things out. They haven't come out with no vaccine. They haven't come out with a cure. And my brother, who is a custodian for Anne Arundel County Public Schools, said it is impossible for them to do their routine and then to sanitize. It's never going to happen. So if a custodian is telling me that y'all are never going to get this clean, and you're trying to explain to me that you're going to do it, you're lying, and you're just trying to put yourself in position. And I don't even understand why. So you've run down our whole vital sign list in your response, and that's cool. So do me a favor, do me a favor, Rashawn. Talk to me or talk to us or give us insight. Let's check the vitals of what they are saying as far as a vaccine. We've seen it started. We've seen it halted. Talk to us. Let's go there about the vaccine.
Well, first of all, like you said, that was a hot take.
Right. Which I love it. It's cool.
It's cool, but when you talk about vaccines, interestingly enough, they say it takes between 4 and 16 years to develop and what's the word I'm thinking of? Effective vaccine. Right. And we have a president now and a vice president. If you guys saw the same debate where the fly subsequently landed on his head. Y'all remember that? The fly. Remember the fly? He said in that same debate that within a few weeks, and the debate was just last week, he said within the next few weeks we should be looking to develop a vaccine. And you even have the president now almost not without dropping it, and directly, he's kind of alluding to he may be on like a clinical trial of the vaccine. And what I think about that is just highly alarming, highly alarming, because as you alluded to, they started off by telling us some things, I guess, to heighten the fear, right? Then they started dropping information to kind of, I guess, gives us the notion we can cool back. You even see the president starting to have rallies at the White House and different things like that.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, as you know, Bishop alluded to, we got like 36 states that are spiking out of control. I know hospitalizations in Iowa, out in like North and South Dakota, they're through the roof.
Yeah.
And yet you expect us to believe that you developed a vaccine within, God, it's been 7 months that we've been in this thing, and you expect
That we've known about it.
that we've known. Oh yeah, okay. My bad. 7 months since we've known about this thing. And you
That
expect
we've
us-
known about it. I'm not talking about the people who we've been privy to the information for only 7 months.
They're expecting us to believe that this vaccine that's rushed is just going to come on the scene and make everything better. I think we need to wake up.
Not to mention they go back and forth on whether or not you can even get it again if you already had it.
I heard about that.
I don't mean to interrupt. If I tackle the vaccine piece. Last thing I heard about a vaccine personally, Johnson & Johnson was working on a vaccine and they had to stop their trials altogether. They had to stop altogether because somebody came up with, from what I recall, it was an unknown illness. They couldn't quite describe it, which happens frequently, often in clinical trials and whatnot. But the fact that this has happened so early and it's all, people are not, we don't have the information that we need, and they are pressing us to, get this vaccine. We got to get the cures. We're getting the vaccine. We're getting the cures, and it's not working. So there's a mix between fact and fiction that we have to find a clear divide between.
Right. Not to mention the after facts of COVID. So the after effects of having COVID-19 are worse than having COVID-19. So when I had COVID-19, I literally could function properly. Now I feel like my lungs are broken. The response to that is, oh, you're probably permanently damaged. Whereas though the other people that lived in my household, they can't even work anymore because they had COVID-19 and still display symptoms. Even though they've negative results, they display symptoms, so they're not allowed to go back to work. We have so much information that we don't know when it comes to COVID. It's too much.
So I want to check the vitals on 2 more pieces about that, and then we're going to take a quick break. I want to check the vitals on when you talk about schools, colleges. You're a college student. I want you to speak to that a minute. Amani, let's speak to that about the college piece when it relates to college students, because now we're seeing college football started, they're pulling back. Everything is now that they wanted to push to get done. Now they're pushing back. Even kids that are being secluded to their dorm rooms now, and they're doing distance learning even though they're on campus, but they should have just stayed home from the start. And they're trying to bring them back. Talk to us about the college perspective of that.
The colleges are broke, so what they're going to convince the students to do is to stay on campus because they need the tuition for the school. Specifically HBCUs, we need the funding. We do. So what they're going to tell is the students to stay on campus, and the dorms are disgusting. I lived in a dorm my first year of college, and I'll never do it again. I promise you, I will never do it again. So to me, of course you're going to get COVID spikes and stuff like that. And the colleges, they're just trying to get tuition money. I mean, the tuition right now is pretty high, considering the fact that we're basically in school remotely. I'm working online and I'm paying $4,000, probably more than that. But to me, it's just, of course, it's going to be focusing on having tuition paid for the students. And that's really all that the schools care about.
So let me ask you a question, and anyone can jump in with this, and we want to tackle, I'm going to let Dre tackle some of the CDC guidelines that are being thrown out of the window daily. So are you saying that this money, that it's pretty much blood money?
Yes, because
They're taking it with, and they already know if an outbreak happens and one of these students wind up parallel parked in their dorm room, stiff as a board, there's all the family's gonna get is I apologize.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna get that money back.
And it's interesting you say that, because remember, once they originally dropped the numbers of the people that were being affected, it was our community that was disproportionately affected. And what was their response to that once they got those facts? Let's open the country back up. Let's go ahead and move to phase 1. Let's go ahead and push the kids back to school. Come on, man. It's more than blood money. It's an attack at this point.
And then you look at how, to me, sending the younger kids to school, from what I've been reading, they say that the younger kids have a better immune system. So to me, what they're trying to do is send the younger kids back to school so they can be like, oh, the vaccine is ready. Let's test it out on the kids and turn it into type of a experiment, kind of like the Tuskegee experiment, and then, see how
I heard that
it might
this
be a
morning too.
conspiracy, but to me, I think that's what they're trying to do.
But so many people that I'm close to are like seriously trying to consider the vaccine, and I'm like, have you not like any type of sense? Like I'm not.
Take your vitamins.
I'm not taking a vaccine that you create this year. I'm not taking a vaccine that you create in 2021.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not down to take a vaccine, especially because there's so many unknowns about the disease itself. So how can we find and research and develop a cure to a disease that we have not researched and discovered itself?
And nurses and doctors admit that they do not understand COVID-19. They don't. They don't understand.
Dr. Fauci is my bishop. I promise you. Dr. Fauci is my bishop. My children know. And they ask me, Dad, did you hear from the bishop today? If Dr. Fauci ain't said it, I don't believe it. And that's it. And listen, real quick, and we're going to go to break. Speak about, because these CDC guidelines, speaking about Dr. Fauci, they don't listen to the Pope. They don't listen to the Pope. They don't listen to Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci then came out and told them everything, and yet and still, the only thing about Dr. Fauci right now that's got me up in arms, and I'm going to pray about Dr. Fauci, is Dr. Fauci is talking about the fact that we can't have Thanksgiving. But, I mean, some of them freeloads can stay home anyway because they weren't going to bring nothing. They were going to take plates. Listen, now, I want you to start the conversation, Dre, about these CDC guidelines. And they keep changing the rules, like you said now in the last piece, about the fact that this is a disease that we really know nothing about, but they keep changing the rules. And so now I just heard today that they're allowing, as local as home now, they're allowing the Ravens Stadium to open up at 10% capacity. They're going to push it. The governor, now I don't know how many is 10%, 15,000 people. I know that my Eagles are letting 7,500 in their building this weekend. But they said they're going to send it to Jack Young. And big shouts to Jack Young. Jack Young's been holding his stance and not moving with Governor Larry Hulk Hogan when he moves. And we're going to talk about Hulk Hogan. We're going to talk about him too. But I want you to start the conversation, Dre, about these CDC guidelines. All these different, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like we're doing the COVID hokey pokey. Tell me your feelings about this whole COVID CDC in one day, here today, gone tomorrow. Talk about that.
Got you. CDC guidelines. So as far as my information goes, do you guys remember in the very beginning when COVID first started and they were pushing everybody, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, everybody wash your hands, and everybody stay home and wash your hands. And then it turned from wash your hands to everybody, stay home, and then it turned into, okay, maybe we'll be fine if we wear a mask. And I think that's where we started to get the issue where it more so became like a political statement, like nobody has a problem washing your hands. Of course, everybody's gonna wash their hands when you use the bathroom, when you're
supposed to do that.
Everybody does that anyways. But wearing the mask becomes more of a political statement.
Supposed to, at least.
Supposed to, yeah. As far as CDC guidelines, I feel as if with anything else that's going on with COVID and anything else that's going on in the world, it's always an agenda to push. You know what I mean? It's always as I want you to believe what I want you to believe when I want you to believe it. So sometimes it's, like with Trump and Pence, and they don't have to wear their mask. Nobody cares. No Republican's going to wear their mask. It's not that serious. COVID is a hoax. It's not that serious. Move on. And sometimes it's, okay, everybody needs to wash your hands, stay in the house, wear a mask. We need to be on top of it. Everybody, 6 feet, social distance. And it's very much an agenda to when I need you to be out and about and I need you to be here and present. For example, if Trump is having a rally, for example, I need people to be here. So let me press the agenda that masks are not important. Nobody's worried about social distancing. COVID is a hoax. So now I have people in the room. When I need people to no longer vote, then I'm pressing the idea of, now I have COVID and now COVID is serious and everybody needs to wear a mask and stay at home so that way we won't get out of the house and do what we need to do. Does that make sense?
That's the timing. The use of fear.
It's an agenda to be pushed. And I know those are pretty specific examples, but it's I want you to believe what I want you to believe when I need you to believe it. That's why I keep switching back and forth. That's why I believe it.
And then people need to educate themselves.
Yes. Most definitely.
Yes. By now, if you don't know at least one person who has been affected by COVID-19, then call somebody on the phone and ask them. Because honestly, ask somebody else. Like, just really ask somebody else. Ask a nurse. Ask a doctor. Don't pay attention to everything you hear. Like, gain knowledge.
Exactly.
try to understand it. There's a lot that we don't understand, but the least you can do is try to understand what other people have gone through
And I think
see how that goes. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I believe that lack of understanding is starting to cause, again, along CDC guidelines and lack of information, it causes sort of like a friction and a divide within the community and like the agenda pushing. There's of course people who believe we have to follow the CDC guidelines, we have to stay 6 feet apart, and there's people who believe that we don't have to wear the mask and COVID is a hoax. And I think that creates a divide in the people that gets them to focus on who's going to wear a mask and who's not going to wear a mask, more so than focus on the fact that we didn't know about this disease until March, when the first one in the United States, the first case of COVID in the United States happened in January. So I think it's very much to turn our attention to what they want us to hear and what they need us to pay attention to, so that we can't focus on things that are going on behind the scenes.
So listen, we're gonna listen real quick. We're gonna talk about agendas and we're gonna talk about all that stuff, because we're gonna get into now we've done some vitals. Now we're gonna gauge the pulse. We're gonna do that in a minute. We'll be right back. It's the pulse. Don't you go nowhere. Go get the baby something to drink. We'll be right back. We're back on the pulse, and listen, we are hot as fish grease. I'm telling you, it's going down. Wonderful, wonderful conversation we're having, and we want to thank you for taking time to watch us. Big shouts to our TV network, New Kingdom TV, and our visionary, Dr. Dante Duckett, our production team, for doing a wonderful job. Listen, we want to continue our conversation now that we've checked the vitals. Let's go in. Let's gauge the pulse now. This is our gauge the pulse section of our show, a segment of our show, and we want to now gauge the pulse. Now, with the 2020 election coming, Lord have mercy, save us all. With the 2020 election coming, we got some decisions to make. And we've called it, even on the pulse of the people, we've called it Judgment Day. And it's coming, November the 3rd, and I pray and hope that you're going to get out and vote. As I said on the pulse, if you stood in line for a Popeye's chicken sandwich, you better stand yourself in line. Get Baby Biscuit, everybody. Matter of fact, get a couple Popeye chicken sandwiches and stand your butt in line. Let's talk about Mr. Trump, because he still is the president for the next 21 days. Thank you, Jesus. Let's talk about Mr. Trump. Let's talk about Mr. Biden. Some things that we've taken from the town halls, things we've taken from the debates. I really don't want to touch the vice presidents, because Mamala whooped that tail, and we already know that. But say hello to the fly. But talk. I'm gonna start with the piano man, because he's our resident politician here. Talk to me about what you're gauging so far about president debates and town halls and things. Some of the things you've heard.
Well, I think Drake touched on it kind of in the last segment. We're really starting to see these candidates, in particular, because he's putting himself out there, President Trump, he's really starting to spew a lot of rhetoric that's kind of revealing his agenda. Like he said, with the whole entire, at first COVID wasn't serious, so I'm going to hold these rallies, but then when he gets COVID-19, then he wants to be a bit more empathetic, or
as if he got it.
Exactly, as if he had it, what so have you. But then it's interesting, you see on Joe Biden's side, interestingly enough, last night, he actually came out and apologized for his part in the 94 crime bill, which to me, I would say it's about, let me see, 94, it's 2020, so what's that, 26 years too late? You're 26 years too late. On top of that, to mention, remember his comments from the 70s when he was against bushing and he was against integration. And I'm just like, people, we got to wake up right now, y'all. We got to wake up. All they're doing is trying to appeal to our votes. These people, I think they make a joke about how Joe Biden has been in politics for what, 47 years now?
47 years.
47 years now. And it's like, how long did it take you to get a change of heart? Be real. How long did it take you to get a change of heart to actually start, caring about some of the issues, you know what I'm saying, that's going on? Actually start caring about, our community. I think he said this year, what? If you don't vote for me, you're not black? Like, come on, people. When are we going to stop, I guess, letting these people, off the hook so easy?
I was going to say, when you mentioned how Biden is super old, I'm just tired of seeing old white men control the government. You need to give it to the younger people to take control, because we're getting tired of it. You keep promising these certain things. Oh, we're going to do this. As soon as you get in office, you don't do it. You forget about us. And then we're sitting here protesting again. To me, you need to step aside. I mean, literally step aside and let the young people figure out what we need to do to make this country better.
We need to get rid of lifelong tenants of the Congress.
Exactly, and the thing is, they're not even supposed to sit in Congress that long. Because something that I have researched because I'm a political science major, so they were saying that they're not supposed to treat it like a career where you're supposed to just be in there for 20 plus years. No, you do what you got to do and you get out. And that's something that I'm planning to do. When I become a senator, I'm going to do what I got to do, and I'm going to make sure I put the laws in place, the policies, do what I got to do to serve my people, and go back to my community so I can work and do the grassroots organizing so that I can make a better impact on my community more than just being in Congress. Because of course you're going to have the policies and the laws that are put in place to protect the people, but working with the people hand in hand in their faces is much better, because you get to connect in a better way. You have a better relationship with the people, and you're not just somebody who's sitting up here like you're a god or something, because we're looking high, you're looking low, and we're expecting you to do something and help us, because that's not how it works. So, yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Armani a little bit. I think my dad and I had this conversation in the car a few days ago. I think there's this mentality that it's always a Democrat versus Republican or a black versus white, and it may be that down here to us, to like regular everyday people. But up there, where the people are working in government, that's not how it moves at all. That's not at all how it works. There's not exactly. Whoever has the money is what's moving stuff. It's not a very much black versus white issue. Yeah.
And that's why it's extremely important to me that people educate themselves about finances, because they're talking, oh, everybody's against me. No, you're against yourself, because you don't even understand how to work your money. And the people who are running this country are working their money. They're working their money, and they're using their money as leverage. And those who have say, and those who don't, do not.
Now, speaking of which, I know that you had alluded to this in the beginning when we talked about Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden about different things, and we'll have time to discuss those things on another episode of our show. I'm pretty sure we will, close as we get to the election. But something happened today that really kind of makes folks scratch their head. But then now in hindsight, when we think about it, when we talk about the lesser of two evils between Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden, and we have our local governor, like I like to call him Larry Hulk Hogan, he writes on his ballot Ronald Reagan. Now,
A disgrace.
when we think about Ronald Reagan, I can think only about one thing. When I think about Mr. Reagan, I think about the crack epidemic that took several. When we talk about the lesser of two evils, and people are going to vote who we're going to vote for, and we want to make sure we capture this, and we'll conclude this segment and go into our final segment after this break. But are there a lot of people thinking that way? I mean, do we look at this as a great leadership moment that he said, instead of voting for lesser two evils? I mean, yeah, I think as a leader you should take, but do you look at it as a lot of people may feel this way and may write Captain Crunch on their ballot?
I feel like he's disgraceful. He's supposed to be an example. He's supposed to be an example to not only the people that work with him, but his entire state. And he let his entire state down by being a clown. And I hope he finds me. Come find me so I can say it to your face. That is the most cowardly thing to do by not choosing, and they're turning the presidency into a joke. It's almost a complete joke. We don't even need a president because we have who as the president. I'm not even gonna go there because y'all can call me on the phone. We can do that. But we have him in the office, and now we want to be going back and forth. Oh well, they both suck. So I'm gonna write Ronald Reagan. What kind of leader are you for you to not even take into account the importance of voting, to take into the account that we have done these things for years and years to come? Just choose a candidate, back the candidate, and then go and do your job. So, because you're the governor. So if you don't even feel confident in doing your job, how should we be confident?
That's the thing.
You don't even feel confident in yourself. I'm talking to you.
You
I
just
hope you're
touched on
listening.
that.
I'm talking to you.
She just said it, and interestingly enough, she said leadership. We're seeing it's a twofold thing. It's a lack of leadership because, like you said, you have the example. You've gotten our attention with the great job you did with the quick response to Maryland. You shut our state down fast, and you held to your guns. But what's frustrating is the guy that he wrote on the ballot. One word: Reaganomics. Go look up Reaganomics. Anybody in our community can tell you right now how Reaganomics decimated our community. Entirely. And for him to write in that guy and further support that, saying that Ronald Reagan is his political hero, what message is that sending to our community?
What does that say to us?
Real quick, listen, I want you to continue to make sure that you subscribe, number one, to our YouTube page. Make sure you check out New Kingdom TV on our YouTube page. But make sure that you continue to put comments in the boxes. Let us know how you're enjoying the show. Make sure you tag, start a watch party. Let everybody know Tuesday nights belong to the Pulse. I know it's a lot going down, but Tuesday night belong to the Pulse. We got to go, but real quick before we go, I want each of our castmates to take a moment, look in the camera. I need you to take 30 quick seconds, and I want you to appease to voters why it's important for you to vote. I'm going to start over here. Dre, appease the voters. 30 seconds.
All right. I understand we're choosing between the lesser of two evils. I very, very much understand that. But when you're choosing between one evil and one great, great evil that has so much influence over our nation, I think the choice is ultimately clear. And a vote for anybody else other than Biden is literally a vote for Trump. Regardless of how you want to slice it, dice it, reword it, make sure you guys get out and vote.
Amani.
So I already put out my thing about no vote, no voice. So when you do vote, also remember, when you cast that ballot after the person has been elected, make sure that they are accountable and hold them accountable to what they are saying. So don't just forget, oh, I just voted. No, go to that person. Make sure you stay in contact with your representatives and keep the tabs up on whoever wins. Because if they're just lying about, just so they can win, then your vote is basically a dud. But what you can do is make sure that you vote. So, yeah.
The boss lady.
I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Everybody is focused on the one vote for either the president or the other president. There are other people. Do your research. Know who is working for you and what you have in mind for your family. Do not go to this poll and say, I don't even know the other people, so I'm going to just check some. No, go do some research. You got time. Take the time. Do it and vote. Do not, and I repeat, do not give up on your family. Do not give up on your community, and do not give up on yourself. Go and vote.
Piano man.
Hey, and just to piggyback on what they're saying, I love what Armani just said, no voice, no vote. So basically, if you don't vote, if you give up that opportunity, because I heard a lot of people say when Bernie Sanders wasn't selected, oh, I'm just not going to vote. So understand, if that is your stance, you have to take the position of just shutting up for the next 4 years, because this is your opportunity to get out and put your money where your mouth is. People bled, they died, they were ridiculed. They're still being persecuted for us to have this great right. So please honor those who came before us. Go out and vote.
Listen here. Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure to bring you this opportunity or this great show we call The Pulse. Listen here, as we go through life, you could do a lot of things. You can live without food because it's been done before at a certain amount of time. You can live without a lot of things. But one thing I remember when I watched the movie called Drumline, they say without the drum, the band has no pulse. You can do a lot of things, but you can't live without a pulse. And we hope and pray that you can't have a Tuesday without the pulse. So you can do a lot of things, but you can't live without the pulse. And we are the pulse. So make sure you watch us next time on the pulse. You can do a lot of things, but don't do it without us. Trust me, we want to be a fixture in your life. Big thank yous to New Kingdom TV, our producer, and all those who make this show happen. Go vote. You already know. It's the Pulse. It's your boy, the Bishop. We'll holler at you next time. Peace.